Fire. That thing you think will never happen to you. We all believe that fire always happens to someone else, until it doesn't. Let's listen and learn from the advocates that have experienced it, those who have been directly affected by fire, those that understand fire sprinklers, and the role that they can play in keeping you, your family, and all that you value most protected. Sometimes, listening to an unexpected messenger might just save more than the day. The stories you are about to hear will make the case for fire sprinklers buy time, time buys life.
It was Thursday night, February 20th, 2003, when we arrived with two other friends at the station. Myself, my late fiancee Donna, and Pam Gruder-Doria, who was the 100th victim. During the first song, they light off some indoor pyro. It's supposedly a cool burning pyrotech. The orbs shoot like 15 feet high. And I'm watching it, and I look, I'm like, they set the wall on fire. So I'm looking at the flames, and they're starting to hit the ceiling a little bit. Smoke starting to roll over the stage. And I thought it was funny at first, because I'm thinking, great, now the sprinklers are going to go off, and it's going to get smoky. We're going to have to go outside. The flames rolled across the ceiling from one end of the club to the other. And it looked like you just lit a trail of gasoline, but it was over our heads. And I'm like, all right, we need to get out. So I told Donna, we're going out that door. So I'm pulling, like, follow me, follow me. Not even knowing the condition she was in. And I just started crawling. And I'm crawling over, like, the wavy lumps, which I didn't know at the time were people. And I'm just crawling over just countless bodies. I get about halfway through the parking lot, and I look, and I just see, look like the roof go down and just flames go up. And I'm like, the roof just collapsed. The only thing that will literally buy the time for people to get out of a building that is on fire are sprinklers. Smoke alarms are great. They'll alert you. They'll wake you up. They'll tell you that there is a problem somewhere in the building. A sprinkler will react where the problem is. People will die if you don't have them.
So I was burned in a house fire when I was 6 weeks old. It was September 1st, 1992, and the fire happened in a mobile home. My biological parents had 5 kids at the time, ages 4, 3, 2, 1, and 6 weeks old, and they decided to leave all 5 of us home alone unsupervised. My 4-year-old brother decided to play with a lighter.
He was my patient many, many years ago in the hospital, and he seemed to be without a forwarding address. So we brought him home for what we thought was going to be a short time, and eventually he was just there and never went.
So these are pictures that were taken a day before we brought Jeff home. This is his actual hospital room and his prehistoric crib. He was burned 43%, total body surface area, all third, fourth degree. Had some amputations done on his hand, which they now call like 7th degree.
Fire sprinklers give people the opportunity to stop those fires before it happens.
Fire sprinklers would have prevented what happened to Jeff from happening to him or any other child.
It was over Labor Day weekend, and it was 10:30 at night. My husband woke up and startled me, and I thought someone was breaking in because you could hear glass breaking. And he yelled for me to get my brother-in-law out of the house, and there was a fire. As soon as he said it, the kitchen windows exploded, our sunroom exploded, and our living room exploded, and the entire house went black. So by the time we got to the street, there was fire coming out of every single window in our house. If we had not got out, we would have never survived. The smoke inhalation that you take in, the fumes, that's what takes you down. The fire won't kill you, the smoke inhalation will. I understood the value of sprinklers before, and now I understand them tenfold, because I mean, every home, every apartment, everybody should have the opportunity to have sprinklers, which it saves lives. That's the whole purpose of fire sprinklers, is to save people's lives.
My son was 20 when he died in the fire in Chapel Hill. It was a Phi Gamma fraternity house, and 5 other children died in that fire.
My name is Dan Jones. I'm the retired fire chief from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. The fire occurred sometime around 6 a.m. and there were still 8 young people in the house at that time, all asleep. There's a lot of negative results from a fire, and sprinkler systems can prevent all of that. It saves lives.
The carbon monoxide had put us all out. So when I woke up, the house was totally engulfed. The sounds, the heat, intense heat. It felt like I was inside of a furnace, which in fact I was. Couldn't see a thing, couldn't breathe. It was horrific. Everything is falling, falling off walls. You can hear TVs exploding. You can hear, it is like a scene from a horror movie. It's like a mother's worst nightmare, truly. I have a son that has autism. So the 3 older boys grab their younger brother with autism and they go to the point. And that's why fire safety is so important. There's a point in the house that you go to so that your parents could get you out. And that's how my husband was able to get all 4 of them out one by one. All of them burned. No one escaped burns. It was just too bad of a fire. But he got them out. I'm about to go, basically. I'm fading in and out. I'm burning alive. Skin is just dropping off of me. And eventually I feel him lift me. Somehow he found me in the darkness. My husband is the hero in this story. He jumps in. He grabs one of the twins. And then before he's able to get the last son, the house caves in. I'm fading in and out, just in and out, in and out. And I hear this sound. It sounds like an animal, just this, I'm like, what is that? And then it dawns on me it's one of my children. And that's when I pass out. And I don't wake up for another 8 weeks. Grief is interesting. You don't get around the pain. You get through it. The thing that I experienced didn't have to be. It could have been helped had we known about fire sprinklers. It would have been the difference between life and death. Not only would we have had life, we would have had a home, because we lost everything.
The morning of September 18th, we got a phone call about a few minutes after 6 in the morning. And my husband listened, and then he said, "What do you mean there was another fire?" And then, of course, I perked up, and my heart's beating faster, and I'm becoming a little anxious. He kind of took the phone down from his mouth and looked at me, and he said, "Michael's dead." And I said, "What do you mean Michael's dead?" And he said, "Michael was killed in a fire." It was the second fire in his dorm in 5 days. They did not have fire sprinklers. The state had given them the money to have them, but the university spent the money on beautification of the campus. If sprinklers would have been in place, Michael would be alive today.
We'd been married 27 years. We had 4 children. Lived on Staten Island, New York, and he was a big, strong man. The family, his other family was the fire department, and he loved being a captain. Little did I know that this routine fire on a cold March night in 1994 was anything but routine. A few blocks down the road on 6th Avenue from the fire service, really right around the corner from a terrible rundown neighborhood. A young couple lived there, and they put their garbage on top of the stove. And it was an old stove with the old-fashioned pilot light on top. And sadly, they went out, and this becomes a disaster. The fire just built and built and built. When that door was opened by the truck company, they rush up the stairs, and the polyurethane on the stairs follows them up. In spite of the renovations, there was no fire sprinklers. John would have lived if that building had sprinklers.
Dominic was a delightful son. There was a fraternity fire at the University of Missouri that took his life. It occurred on May the 8th, 1999, was the last day of his freshman year, the day before Mother's Day. We received the phone call in the early morning hours telling us that my son had been killed in the fire. And from that day, our lives changed. It could be your life, it could be your child's life. Let's protect what we value most. Fire sprinklers save lives every day.
Common Voices is a group of people from two different areas. A group of people that represent the fire sprinkler industry, and a group of people, most importantly, and who are the common voices, are the people that have been directly affected by fire, either have lost a loved one, have been burned themselves, have experienced near-death fire situations, and because of those experiences have become advocates.